Welcome back to episode 19 of the Rally Report podcast. We have another returner to the pod joining me today, and lots of spicy news that's been happening around the squash community, and thought who better to do it than the man himself. I'd say he's one of the best movers in the game, and just all in all, a good dude who's really storming up the rankings. Spencer Lovejoy, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, Sean, how's it going? I'm happy to be here second time around after our first podcast with your boy.
Yeah, that was a wild one.
Yeah, it definitely was a good time. So,
but
you, running it back here.
Had to have you back on as on a one-on-one interview. But I mean, first of all, I need to start off with an apology for robbing Spencer from watching the Windy City Open. I think it's the quarterfinals right now that's happening.
Yeah, man, I was just watching Tarek and Dasuki go at it. It was 1-1, and then
it's 1-1.
Yeah, it's 1-1 in games. It's a tight one.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I'm sure we'll both be running off right after this interview.
I'm going to have to check the live scores midway through the podcast.
I actually just pull it up here mid-podcast. But, yeah, I just want to start. Before I start things off, who do you have winning the Windy City Open?
Windy City. So it's Marwan versus Youssef tomorrow. And then Tarek or Dasuki versus who's that?
Joel Macon and Paul Cole. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen much of Joel or Paul play. Obviously, been really impressed with Youssef's play over this week.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable. That win over Sherbagi was
that was nuts.
I was honestly I was speechless after that one.
Yeah.
And then he played really well in the next round against Iker. I was pretty impressed with the way he backed up his victory against Mo. But
yeah, I always thought it was kind of a fluke, and then I saw him this time when he's sitting. I was like, okay, he just is a.
Man, he's beaten Muhammad 3 times in a row.
Seems to have figured him out. Knows exactly how to. Muhammad has not figured him out. Seems to be the case.
I love his style though. His style is so fun to watch and entertaining. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with. It's tough because we don't know who's won this match.
You don't want to say.
Yuki and Tarek.
Suzuki has game ball right now, the third, as we speak.
I'd like to see Dasuki win, honestly.
I can see him winning. I put him as one of my wild cards.
If he wins this match, I think he could definitely take it. Marwan Sherbagi was really good yesterday too, so.
Yeah. I mean, I just also feel like he always beats Farag. So it wasn't like a shocker of a result. Yeah.
He's got Farag's number, that's for sure. I'm going to go with the winner of this match. I think.
Between Momin and Suzuki takes it all?
Yeah, I think whoever wins this match is going to win the tournament.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We got the prediction here first. But, yeah, I wanted to start things off with the men's CSA Nationals last week that you clearly were – the main commentator. No shade to the others, but why don't we start off with how you felt about commentating and how you felt about that entire final situation?
Yeah, honestly, commentating was a really good time. I had a blast just watch. I was going to go watch the matches anyway, and then I got an email from David Poolman asking, if they need some extra commentators. So I hopped right on it. And yeah, Timmy and I did kind of the first 2 rounds, and then on Sunday I commentated with Richard Millman, who's also really knowledgeable about squash. And yeah, I thought the finals was it was a great match from both sides. I think Penn was definitely a little more worn out from the tournament. They had a tougher road for sure, going through Drexel and Yale, and then Harvard kind of having 2 easier matches. So I thought Harvard was fresher going into it, and so I honestly thought it could be a toss up going to the finals, 50-50. And yeah, I mean, it was so close. There were so many 5-gamers, and obviously there's a bit of controversy in the Douglas versus Cruin match,
which you posted as well on Squash Stories.
Yeah,
which got...
I felt like I had to stir the pot a little bit after that one because it was such a contentious match, and if that decision obviously had gone the other way, then Penn would have won the match. So I think it's definitely an example of how one decision can actually change an entire match. I mean, I know some people say, oh, you know, when a match is not decided by a single decision, but there are certain decisions at crucial points that can change an entire match, for sure.
Yeah, you're right.
Obviously, we can't, the players can't do anything about it. The refs make wrong decisions, and that's just part of the game, and you have to just accept that. So, but I had, multiple conversations with refs and other people about that decision. It seems like a lot of people think it was a no-let, but we'll never know.
Wait, what's your take on it? On the decision?
My take is that was a no-let because Victor played a poor shot into the middle of the court, which forced him to have to cover the drop in the front, the short ball in the front. So he moved up a little bit, and then Douglas held it and pumped it deep. And so Victor put himself out of position, which caused him to run into Andrew. And there was, I think, a line behind Andrew, which he could have taken if he hadn't committed to going forward a little bit to cover the short ball. So I think he put himself in a bad position, and Andrew just played his shot. And Victor obviously ran into him, but it was because he was out of position. He created his own interference. It wasn't Douglas's fault in any way, really. That's my take,
As someone who lives with the Penn guys, are they all feeling a little robbed about that situation and that call?
I mean, it's hard not to, for sure. I think they are feeling a little bit like they kind of had the match in the bag, maybe, and then something like that can definitely, you can definitely ruminate about something like that for a while. But I'm sure Gilly has, talked to them a lot about it, and I'm sure that they're all going to learn from the match, and they're going to take positives from it. I think it's tough, but it's always like really important to always try and find the silver lining and try and grow from like a brutal loss like that, because even though it sucks in the moment, losses like that are definitely going to make you better if you find a way to kind of grow from them.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of, I had a couple Instagram questions asking about that Penn scenario, and a lot of people wanted to hear your take on it. And one person in particular, I think, asked about, this seems to be a common theme with ref controversy at nationals. Do you have any opinions of how things could be done better? Do you think they should be implementing video review for the finals?
It's tough because they do bring in professional refs. And, the guy who's reffing that match is that guy Tamer El Nagari, who is one of the PSA refs. So in my opinion, he's one of the best refs probably on tour. And so I think in general, I think it's dealt with well to have the pro refs there, it's great. Video review, I don't know. I mean, it's always great to have the ability to do a video review if they can somehow have the technology for it. Yeah, but that's up to David Poolman to, raise some more money, I guess. So we'll see. Yeah, but yeah, I think it can always be improved if we have the technology, and college squash is always improving and getting more competitive. And at some point, if it's so competitive that these little things kind of make a big difference, then I think they should be implemented.
Yeah. How did it feel for you watching all that? And Yale also coming in third.
Yale had a good showing.
Yeah. Did you feel the itch to go back on court, being like, I could kind of contribute right now to the Yale team?
Oh man, I think I accidentally dropped an F-bomb on the on the commentary because I was like,
which match?
In the semifinals when they were playing Penn, because I was like, my heart was racing for them. I almost felt like I was out there, and Timmy was like, are you feeling it right now, Spence? I was like, my heart's effing racing right now. That was an accident.
But does it kind of upset you being like how great of a team they've created over there right now, and if you could have been a part of that, because it's such a deep team Yale has.
Yeah, no, I mean, not necessarily. I think that it kind of is what it is. When you're in college, you're bound to the team that you have, and you have to do the best with what you have. And sometimes you have a great team, and sometimes the team is not as strong, and you work with what you have. And I worked with what I had at Yale, and it was a great experience. And I tried my best to instill a good culture in the team that hopefully the guys still, they still kind of, they kind of use that culture that I helped create on the team while I was there, and other seniors that were there created while we were there. So I think it all kind of builds on itself. And that's why the alums get so excited to see the, future teams doing well, because they feel that connection obviously to the program. And, they know that they went through those 4 years and they were part of that team culture, and they contributed to that team culture that is today, because there's so many people that were involved in all of these teams that had a big impact at one point or another, and they're part of the history of those teams. So I think, part of me, when I was in college, our team never won a first round at nationals, which was a little tough, but
yeah.
And as much as I wish I could have, it just didn't happen. But I'm more than happy to see them doing well now, and I'm really happy that Lynn is doing well, and Lynn and Campbell seem to make a really great duo as like the head and assistant coaches there, and the team seems to buy into their style. So it's great. It's great to see. So
yeah. And before we move on, we know that individuals comes right after nationals. I wanted to put you on the spot of who you think is going to win individuals.
So I was having a conversation with Sabrina Sobey today. We were just hanging out after our morning training, and we were both like, if Youssef wins the Windy City Open, if I'm Youssef, I take that prize money and I pull out of individuals, because it's like 20. If you win the Windy City Open, you have $25,000 or something,
right?
And you're not allowed to take that if you're a college student.
Oh my God!
If he were to take the money, he would become ineligible to play individuals. But if I'm Youssef and I win the Windy City Open, I don't think there's any reason for me to play individuals.
That's a phenomenal point. How much has he secured already? Him making it to the semis.
As a semi-finalist, I think at least $15,000 or so.
Get out of here! I'm pulling out. You got to pull out.
Pull up the numbers for you if you want. I have the.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
I have the information here.
That's crazy if he has to give up, because the prize money doesn't come.
The tournament loves it because they get the money back. The Walter family will be thanking Youssef if he wins and doesn't accept the prize money.
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that angle.
Yeah, it's a funny. Oh wow, this is actually this is a bigger pot actually. Yeah, so the semifinalists get $13,300. Yeah. Runner up gets $22,000, and the winner gets $35,000.
Wow,
big difference.
I personally do think Youssef could make it to the finals on this one. I think he has a great chance. So. Wow, and he is the top seed right now for the individuals.
Yeah,
so
I just think that Youssef, maybe in his first final, maybe just not as experienced as whoever he plays against. So that's the only reason I wouldn't take him in the final. And he's had a pretty brutal tournament overall. But who knows, man? He's unpredictable. So
I'm glad you brought that up.
Back to your original question. If Youssef plays, you just never know with him though, because sometimes in the college matches he can go a little walkabout, and it's a 19-inch tin as well versus 17-inch tin, which I think makes a big difference for his attacking game.
Mm.
So I think I would have to back. I mean, Marwan won in 2020, didn't he?
Yeah, this is why I think this tournament is so fascinating and fun.
Very unpredictable.
You never know what you're going to get out of these players. We're all top class.
Yeah, and Andrew's right in there too, I think.
Right.
He's number 3 seed, I think. We won't reveal the seedings, but you guys are going to do that with Stu tomorrow. But
yes, I am, yeah.
If I were to pick one, I think I'd go with Victor. I think I'd go with Victor for this year. I think he kind of didn't give a great performance in 2020, so I think he might be hungry to kind of reassert himself and get in there and try and win again. I think it's his senior year as well, right? So is it his senior year?
It is his senior year. He's graduating.
I think it is.
They're all graduating, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Youssef's on his game and he's playing well, I think he's the favorite for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of CSA, and I know I've not really asked you any personal questions to this point, but you've had quite the career yourself, and I know you've mentioned your process in other interviews, so I don't want to make this too repetitive, but the question I have for you is, what was the most memorable win and the loss that hit you the hardest during your time in college?
During my time in college?
Yeah.
And my most memorable win would probably be my win over Youssef.
Yeah.
At Princeton. That was my senior year.
Walk us through this one. How you're feeling, confidence-wise, and all that.
Yeah, I remember going into the match, and I think it was pretty close between us and Princeton. It was like we were both pretty close in the rankings, and we had a good shot at winning the match. We all played well, and I felt very comfortable on the court that day, and his style of play wasn't really bothering me. That I actually like playing against attacking players because it gives me a chance to counter in the front. Like a lot of chances to counter in the front. And I actually end up going up to Love, and then he ended up coming back 2-all, and then I ended up winning the fifth game. But yeah, I just remember feeling very comfortable on court, very confident. I felt like I was flowing a lot. I thought I put on a good performance, and I was really happy with the way I played, obviously. Unfortunately, the team I think we ended up losing that match 5-4, which was tough, which would have been cool if I'd won and we had won the match 5-4. But
this is what's always so tough, but also weird about college squash is you can have the biggest win of your life, but then the team loses, so you don't know how the emotions throw you off of how you're supposed to be feeling and all.
No, 100%. I mean, I think sometimes when you lose and then the team wins, you kind of get bailed out, and you feel good. But then when you win and the team loses, it's kind of like, okay, you're happy you won, but then the team morale is kind of lower, so it doesn't feel great. And if you lose and the team loses, then
it's just a double, But how about the toughest loss for you?
My toughest loss, the one that comes to mind, is probably against Kush Kumar. I think that was my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
That was at Yale on court 3, which is the 3-wall glass court to the right as you go in. And I remember it was a pretty tight match with Trinity. It was either 6-3 or 5-4 we lost. And I was playing number 1 against Kush. Who's a good deal older than me. And I was also coming off an injury and I was kind of struggling to get my momentum back that year. I had a hip flexor injury, and I also had appendicitis earlier in the season. So I had to get my appendix removed, and so that was kind of over December. I was recovering, and then started getting back into it in January. I think we played Trinity towards the end of January, but I was just starting to feel good on court again. And I had been struggling before that to play well, and then I played against Kush, and he's obviously a really good player, really strong around the middle, very accurate in the front court. He's got good holds. And I just remember it going back and forth. It was one of those 5-game matches where you win the first game, or I think he won the first game, I won the second game, he won the third game, I won the fourth game, and then the fifth was just nip and tuck, point for point.
Yeah.
And I still distinctly remember this point at the very end of the match where I think he had, or I think we were tied up at 9-all, and I went up 10-9, and we just played a really long rally. I'd gone up 10-9. I gave a massive fist pump. All the boys were cheering. It was a really good atmosphere. And then I serve, and he puts it straight in the nick off the crosscourt. And I was just Jesus, man, that really hurt, And then I think we went point for point it went 12-all, 13-all, and I think he won 15-13 in the fifth or something like that.
Oh, yikes.
So that was a pretty painful one. It's definitely still sticks in my mind. There was another one too, actually. Actually, there were two others. I had some painful losses in college, man.
Let's get into it. Which one are you referring to?
So there was another one where I was playing Saad from Harvard. I think these two were my junior. No, these might have been sophomore or junior. I can't remember. Saad from Harvard. I had 3 match balls in the 5th game, 10-7. Ended up losing that 12-10 or 13-11. Oh. And then Ashley Davies, I was up 6-love in the 5th game. After getting chopped, the first 2 I lost like 11-3, 11-3.
Uh-huh.
Came back, won the next 2 games. He was starting to get tired. I was up 6. Actually, I remember this distinctly. I was up 6-love in the 5th game. And I was up 5-love. And the referee gave Ashley a conduct point for arguing with him. Arguing too much with the ref. And so I was up 6-love in the 5th. And that fired him up so much. He got this adrenaline rush. And he just came back, and then all of a sudden it was 6-all. And then we were point for point, 9-all. And then I think he won 11-9 or something, which was devastating.
Oh my god! I mean, who would have thought the ref giving conduct?
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're like, shit, man. If the ref had just not intervened, maybe I would have won that match.
Why'd you have to step in there?
Yeah, I mean, I had the 6-love lead, so I shouldn't have blown it. But, yeah, so those are my 3 I lost.
But, I mean, I want to talk to you about the CSA in particular because I think it's fascinating to me, and I think this does apply to you especially because I think it really happened from your arrival where the level of play just became world-class. And now we got a situation where the best kids in the world are not going straight professionally, but coming to the U.S. college to compete and also juggle the pro circuit. And I'm setting all this up because I wanted to ask you, did the rise of other players in the rankings get to you in a negative way? Or do you think it just, put fuel to the fire?
You mean the rise of players in like highly ranked PSA players coming to college?
I guess I'm asking, did you try doing more pro tournaments because of seeing, other kids making it?
I see. Right. I see.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, honestly. It was, like you said, it was always a goal of mine to go pro and play pro. And it was all part of my own, my plan. My plan was to up my ranking while I was in college so that I could be in a good position to start playing pro when I graduated. And I think I did pretty well at that. I told you previously that I had goals of, reaching a certain ranking by the time I graduated. And yeah, I never really focused on, what the other players were doing, how their rankings were, because I have no control over that.
Right.
Obviously, it's I think it's pretty impressive that players like Youssef and Victor have been able to get such high rankings while in college, especially with the workload and everything. They travel so much and they miss a lot of school, and it's really difficult. I know it's difficult because I also traveled. I didn't travel as far as them for some tournaments, but it was still difficult for me to keep up with the workload when I was traveling for tournaments during college. But so that's really amazing what they've done. And I think you're right. I think it's only going to get stronger, and more players in college are going to probably start playing PSA while they're in college, and there's going to be more highly ranked PSA players in college as we progress and as college squash gets stronger.
Yeah. So you were able to just block out whatever everyone else is doing. Yeah. You just went your path.
Yeah, I just never really used that as a motivation for myself. I always knew, or I didn't know, but I was always working on the things that I needed to work on to improve, and trying to improve my level, trying to improve my ranking, so I could get better, not so that I could catch up with other players.
Right.
Because I think when you start playing that game, you're just kind of digging yourself into a hole because you're not really focusing on what you need to do to improve your level, which is what's going to cause your ranking to improve as an effect. So by focusing on what other players are doing and how other players are doing, it's just not very
Yeah.
Productive overall. So, I think about it very matter of factly. If it's helpful for me, I do it. If it's unhelpful for me, I don't do it. So.
And it's been what, a year or two since you fully transitioned as a professional now?
So I graduated in 2020, and then we had a year of COVID. I mean, I started playing I tried to play tournaments during COVID. There weren't many, but so I've technically been a full-time pro since the summer of 2020.
But really, since like 2021, because
I would say I've been probably pro since I would qualify from the beginning of 2021 because that's when there really were.
Yeah, let's take out the 2020 year.
Yeah, let's just you can delete that one.
But how are you feeling right this very moment with your game and squash and your decision to have gone pro?
Pretty much a year from going pro. I feel like I've made a lot of progress over the last year for sure. There's so many positives to take away that I think get lost in, always tending to focus on what you don't have rather than what you do have. But I think over the last year, obviously my rankings improved, which is just kind of, it's proof of my hard work that I've done off the court. And being at the National Center has been like a dream come true. We've been working really hard over there. Physically, I've definitely improved a lot. Mentally, I think I've gotten tougher. Technically, I think I've definitely pinpointed parts of my game that can be improved and trying to chip away at that as well. So yeah, I'm really working on all the different parts of my game that I need to be a top pro. And
is there a specific thing you're working on right now that you'd like to share, or is this confidential?
We got to keep that. In the private notebook. No, but I mean, if I would give kind of just a
hint of dab of
a kind of a general idea of it. Just working on being more severe in the front court. Really, still working on controlling the rallies with the basics, and just having such a solid base physicality and base game that I feel like I can control the rallies and create opportunities, and then trying to work on taking those opportunities with more severity and more aggression, trying to string together multiple like good attacks, and just overall improving the just the level of my squash.
Wow, Spence, that was so incredibly broad. none of the opponents are really not giving away anything there.
You can go talk to Ong Beng Hee if you want to know about that. He'll probably tell you.
You moved to Philly last fall, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah, last fall.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like physically, we've been doing a lot we've been doing so much in the gym. We have a strength trainer. Her name is Bridget. She works over at Drexel. And so in the off season, we were going 4 times a week in the gym with her, just working on being more explosive, gaining some muscle, very squash specific stuff as well. We really hit like a little bit of everything, just trying to become better athletes overall so that, we can use that on the squash court. And then with Bang Hee, we work on our technique and our technical stuff. There's so many details. I could probably talk for hours about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say overall the main thing I'm working on is just continuing to nail the basics, and becoming more severe, attacking the front court, and the back court, is using my length as more of an attacking shot rather than just kind of a neutral or defensive shot, something to keep the rally going, but really trying to become the aggressor in the rally and control from the middle of the court. So yeah.
It seems incredible what you guys are building over there in the Specter Center with the Team USA, but it also seems like a trial and error process with everything being new. Are you very happy with where you guys are stationed, or has it ever come to you of like, maybe I want to move elsewhere for your home base?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Specter Center is an amazing center, but there's always going to be bumps in the road along the way of something that's so new and so kind of revolutionary, and just trying to figure out how it's going to function, and is it going to be is it going to be a good fit? I've definitely had thoughts of, okay, is this the right place to be? And I've thought, maybe I want to try somewhere, try to be located in the UK, or, there's so many other great training bases for pros. But I think, I've really loved my time here in Philly so far. And like I already said, have been, bumps along the road, and there are going to continue to be obstacles that we'll need to cross in our training and in our structure, how we structure things, with Bang Hee, with Bridget, with them, with the planning of our training. But in terms of being in the city, I love being in Philly. It's close to where I'm from in New Haven, only like a 3-hour drive. So I like that it's close in proximity to my parents, and I can kind of go back and see them when I want. And I like the city overall. I have a bunch of friends here, so the social life is good. And then just also, I think just being part of the Specter Center in kind of the greater cause is something that I've thought about a lot in the past couple months, is kind of being a part of this new wave of American players coming through and trying to inspire another younger wave to come up and join us at the Specter Center. It has been something that I've really thought about a lot, and has definitely motivated me in a greater way. It's not just myself, getting better because I want to get better. It's getting better because I want to inspire other juniors to come and play pro, come and work on their game, so that we can build something as a team, build a stronger Team USA and really be players in the world stage. So I think that's one vision that we have over at the Specter Center and at US Squash, is someday, maybe, whether it's 10, 20 years from now, having the US be, the number one country in squash, and having been kind of the first pioneer of, Timmy and I kind of being the first two guys who
on the top of the,
yeah, kind of I think Timmy and I will someday be having a whiskey together and just reminiscing about the good old days when we were kind of the only two guys training at the center. And 20 years from now, we'll be looking back, and there's going to be probably, if I could guess, there's going to be so many talented junior American players who are going to be training at the center. So looking at that, and kind of, obviously it's a big jump, and it's going to take a lot of hard work from us and from US Squash, but I think that vision is really clear within the US, within US Squash and within us, and we really want to help to create that as a reality. So I think it's just, this is a great cause overall, and we have an opportunity to really make it happen. So I think that's a really worthy cause, and something that I want to contribute to. So
that's really well said. Yeah. I think that's really well said.
Yeah. A little more well said than when I'm working on my game right
now. So if I were to ask you, if the Specter Center wasn't there, and where would you have been, do you think? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know, man. I probably would have looked more internationally. I've trained in Barcelona. I really liked it there. Barcelona Global Squash, Victor Montserrat, Iker Pajares, and all the Spanish guys over there. I trained there for 2 summers. I definitely thought about moving there when I graduated. And then I definitely would have checked out some of the bases in England for sure. And I think the great thing about being based here as well is that we also have the ability to still kind of branch out, go train other places for a week or 2 if we want,
Right.
For example, in March, I'm going to play a tournament in Liverpool, England, and I'm going to go train at Nick Matthews' club for like the week before. So, I mean, the fact that we travel for tournaments so much, it gives us an opportunity to still get access to training in some like different environments with some different players. So you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I guess, yeah, I mean, Barcelona would have been an option. I probably would have, I mean, maybe I would have thought about just staying in like Connecticut, in the Connecticut area, or like somewhere close to New York. But who knows?
I mean, yeah, it's perfect fucking timing for you guys. Just transition to pro and have everything built up.
Yeah, exactly.
Spencer, what has been the toughest part about being on the tour so far, as someone who's a year fully in?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a tough life at points, for sure. I would say one of the toughest things is kind of the travel. If you're traveling to a tournament alone, or like, you know, you're in a place where you don't really know anyone, or, you know, or, you know, you lose first round of a tournament in like a random country and like, you don't know really what to do. Like, you know, those are the dark moments of living on tour that, you know, it happens to everyone. It's happened to me before. It's happened to every other pro out there. You know, you go to a tournament on your own, like you get there and you lose first round and then you're like, well, shit, man. What do I do now? You know, you didn't collect much prize money from it. You didn't collect any points. And so that can be tough mentally. And like, it can be tough to kind of like keep your faith at that point. Sometimes you just, you know, you're like, you start questioning yourself. Why am I, you know, why am I doing this? Or,
the deep dark thoughts start.
Yeah, exactly. But then, you know, you have to come back to, you know, why you play and all the, like these things I just mentioned, like the kind of the greater purpose. Right. What's your greater purpose for playing squash? You know, are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for other people? You know, who are you doing it for?
Right.
That helps me.
Wait, Spence, I'm dying to ask this right now because it just came up in my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
When you go to these tournaments internationally, do you pack your bags as if you're going to the final and winning it all?
Yeah, of course. You bring enough.
You always bring everything, all the gear.
For sure, yeah. Well, that's another thing, like booking flights and stuff.
Yeah.
That can be like a little annoying sometimes because, you know, you want to back yourself to make it to the final. So, you know, you book your flight from 2 days before the tournament to the day after the tournament or the night after the final, and then sometimes you lose early. So you either like try and stay there and, you know, kind of train with other players, or you have to change your flight, like take the kind of just bite the cost of like changing flight and then going back early. That's another like difficult part. Another thing that I've kind of struggled with a little bit, I would say, is kind of just the like the financial aspect can be tough at times. Just because sometimes it's hard when, you know, you see all your friends kind of out there like making bank and or whatever, you know, doing finance and making a bunch of money, and then, you know, maybe, you know, you're not making as much as them. So, you know, you can tend to kind of maybe just think, you know, is this the right decision? Is this not? But, so that can be, I think for me, sometimes that's a little bit of a factor, but at the end of the day, I'm doing something I love, and, I'm trying to figure out how
most of them are miserable sitting down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mean, there's always trade-offs, right? So, I mean, I'm doing something I love and I'm trying to make it profitable. So, you know, I always take the finances into consideration, because I never want to be doing stuff that is going to lose me money. But sometimes you have to, when you're on tour, you have to go to a tournament that's far away and you're going to maybe lose money on it, or that's expensive. And, so it's just part of gaining experience. And, so I try to keep a good attitude around that. And just
do you budget down to the cent? Like, are you very,
I do go back and, you know, take my expenses from my tournaments and try and keep track of, everything I spent, so that, you know, for taxes, I mean, this is my first year, like I'm doing my own taxes, which is kind of wild.
Actually, same here. I just submitted my taxes.
Like, kind of crazy, but like,
and I was like, oh, I get money back? I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, exactly. For your expenses and stuff. Like, you know, I think for squash players, it's especially important to keep track of the expenses. so that you can write off the expenses to kind of offset your taxes. So yeah, I mean, I've gone back to all my tournaments from 2021 and kept track of every expense that I used at those tournaments and tallied it up, and I'll submit that with my tax documents and everything. But in terms of like the lifestyle, I love the lifestyle of being a pro, kind of, because you kind of get to make your own hours. You basically work out for a living. Like, you go to the gym, like,
can't complain about it.
You do some fitness, I mean, the cardio can be difficult sometimes, but and then you get to play a game, you get to play a game. For me, one thing I've been doing on the side as well is to make a little extra cash is doing some exhibition matches. So shout out anyone out there who wants to do an exhibition match with me.
hit up Spencer for
but yeah, I've enjoyed kind of just figuring out how I can, support myself, whether it's kind of getting new sponsors and making some partners. I think that's a really cool part of being a pro athlete or a pro squash player, is that you get to work with businesses who like might want to partner with you. And you get to, you kind of like, you advertise for them. You can do such stuff on social media, which I think is pretty fun. And you can build relationships that way, which can be cool. And just doing exhibition matches, meeting new people at new clubs is awesome.
I was going to talk to you about sponsorships anyways, because I wanted to bring it up because, I mean, first of all, I'm in no place to tell or judge how other players should go about tackling sponsorships, but to be quite honest, it seems like you're killing it in that department. And is there a unique approach or some wisdom you could share?
It appears that way, at least.
I mean, is there some wisdom? Because I'm sure there are players in the top 100 who are like, have one racket sponsorship and are, barely making it. And then, you're out here being proactive.
To be honest, like, just being a good person, like, and having a good attitude, like, goes a really long way with sponsors, and just really showing that you care about their brand, like, you care about what they're doing, you kind of like identify with their vision as a company, and that you're going to do what it takes to do your part in whatever the partnership is, that you're making the effort to really give to them, and showing like what you can provide. Because at the end of the day, being in a partnership or sponsorship with an athlete, it's a business agreement, and they're giving you something in exchange for something else. And as athletes, as squash players, we don't get as much exposure on national television or stuff like other kind of more high profile athletes get. But we do have the power of social media these days, and so that's something that I've tried to cultivate, and it seems to be working. I'm trying to continue cultivating that, and just again trying to find companies that who like me as a person, who want to support me as a squash player, and who I want to support as a company, who I think they have a good vision. Because I never want to partner with a company that I don't really believe in, or I don't really have any ties to. I don't think that's morally, like, I wouldn't want to do that.
I mean, we could be seeing the first squash influencer out there in the social media world with Spencer.
Well, I don't know. I think Amanda Sobey already has that.
I was gonna.
Saul probably has that.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, his following is unbelievable.
Instagram.
Yeah.
He's got like 300,000 followers. I don't know how he.
I don't even know how you can get to that number with squash, but I was going to ask: is there a day in the life of Spencer video in the works? I know that I saw that Timmy uploaded one.
Yeah, Timmy did one. I might have to. I mean, if the people want it, then
I think the people do want it.
If people want it, then I'll have to provide it. So, yeah, Sean. I mean, maybe you've inspired me. I'll have to get to work on that.
I think you should. It's step one of influencer is you got to show the day in life.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't show them my apartment. That's the only place is a total waste time most of the time.
So yeah, okay. Let's transition into the quick fire segment. I'm just gonna do a bunch of questions to you, and then we'll just casually talk it out. But so let's start off with some squash related ones. You're 10-0 down in the 5th game. Are you the player to go for it, or you play it out?
I play it out.
You play it out.
Yeah.
Let's try to secure the point.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely I wouldn't throw that point or just go for a winner. I would really try and earn the last point or try and make a comeback or hopeful guy.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on best of 3?
Best of 3. I like best of 3. I think it definitely has a place in squash. NetSuite Open.
Oh, I was about to mention, you were on fire.
Great tournament. Canary Wharf, great tournament. So 2 examples of great 2 out of 3 tournaments. They do it in tennis or the non-major tournaments. So no, it definitely has a place on the tour. I think people like watching the abbreviated match length.
Do you think there should be more of it?
I do actually. I think there should be more of it. I don't know exactly what the balance should be, but I think there should be. Yeah, I think there should be more tournaments to it. Sure.
What are your thoughts on doubles?
Doubles, as in hardball doubles, or doubles on the singles court, like the international style?
International style.
That's the one they play at the Commonwealth Games and
that one.
the Pan Am Games. I've never played, and I've honestly never watched. I watched some. We actually have a court over at the Specter Center.
Have you ever played on that?
No, I've actually never even gotten out. I've actually played hardball doubles a bunch in the last couple of weeks.
Okay, what are your thoughts on hardball doubles then?
I actually really like hardball doubles. I think it's really fun. They have the SDA tour in the US, which is actually a pretty big tour. They have mixed doubles, men's, women's, and I think it's cool to have that team camaraderie again. You're with a partner rather than just by yourself, and it's a little more social. And they actually get massive crowds. I was playing a 5K at the Philly Racket Club here in Philly a couple of weeks ago, and they had an amateur doubles tournament on, and it was the last match of the night on a Friday night, and they had kind of the beer tap flowing, and everyone was drinking. There were 50 people just watching these kind of middle-aged guys just play, and the rallies were epic. People were diving all over the place, hitting nicks and 3-wall boasts, and it was it's pretty entertaining. People get into it. So.
Did that itch you to jump on the SDA tour?
Honestly, I think I might play a little bit. I think it's a good way to just kind of change it up. Again, it's just fun. It's more social.
Yeah. To follow that up, who would you pick as your partner?
Well, I actually talked to, I don't know if you know Celia Pashley. She coaches the Sacred Heart women's girls high school team. She was here last weekend. We were catching up, and we might be playing the mixed doubles nationals this year if I don't have any conflicts. But I don't know in terms of men's doubles. I played with Chris Sackvey a couple times. He's the head pro
Canadian?
at the Specter Center. Canadian, Nick Sackvey's older brother. He's the head pro at the Specter Center of the club portion of the center, and he's a great player. I would definitely pick him as my partner if I played an SDA event.
Yeah. I have to ask you, what are your thoughts on commentators for squash? And is that something that you might want to do in the future?
I love doing it. I got a lot of compliments on it, so I must have done a decent job, I guess. I thought it was great. It brought a more casual atmosphere when you and Tim were doing it, and I think it's fun. Yeah, I think we were trying to kind of strike a balance between kind of keeping it lighthearted as well as still educating kind of the viewers on what's going on and what's the strategy, what are the tactics here, what needs to change, what doesn't, strengths and weaknesses, stuff like that. But it was something that came pretty natural to me. I found going into it, I'd never done it before last or 2 weeks ago, and I just found it just felt pretty natural for me to talk about squash. So definitely something that I'll probably continue doing in my free time if I have free time and there's tournaments in town in Philly or whatnot. And I do think it kind of got me thinking I think eventually college squash should create kind of like a squash TV version of for college squash, where they have a kind of a centralized website to cover all the college squash matches with commentators, and you could kind of like, even during the regular season, you could kind of go to that website and you can watch.
Right, that's a brilliant idea.
Maybe like not for every school, but for like the top 8 schools or something like, and then it would cover like all the national championships, and I think that would be pretty cool and a great way to keep growing the college game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a brilliant idea. I think they should. David Pullman should really hop on that.
I'll have a word with you about that. We'll probably have to raise some more money.
It's always the money. What are your thoughts on nicknames for PSA players?
I like the nicknames. I think sometimes, they can get a little, like some of the players don't have the best nicknames, I think. But
there's something that in mind you right now that you're thinking of?
I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I think overall they're good. They could be better, but I like the nickname thing, but I think the nicknames could be better.
Better quality. Have you ever discussed what your nickname should be?
Oh, I actually haven't. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that definitely just has to come organically,
Yeah, never force it upon.
You can't force it, but that's what I feel like sometimes they force it a bit.
I agree, yeah.
On squash TV, I think they need to just put a little more thought into it. Not give someone a nickname if it's not really like a good nickname,
Yeah. No, I agree. I am fully with you on that. What are you thinking of coaching post-career or no?
It's definitely something I would be interested in, whether it's like college coaching or kind of like opening my own academy. Even like working for US Squash, I think would be awesome. Like something I would love to do.
Yeah, like 20 years from now, you and Timmy grabbing the helms.
We running the national team or something.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I would definitely like to stay in squash. I think. I mean, it's been such a huge part of my life from now, and I mean, right now, I just couldn't see not having squash as part of my life, or a big part of my life. I mean, that was one of the things that really urged me to go pro. Is that like when I graduated, there was no world in which I could imagine where I would stop playing squash or squash would take like a back seat, in my life. So I was like, okay, I have to stick with it, Obviously, if there comes a time when I'm like, if, I lose interest in it, then, things change. But for now, I really love the game, and I want to keep involved in the game, and I can definitely picture a future where I stay involved in the game. So,
I mean, it doesn't hurt to have that Yale degree in the back of your pocket, sure. Just in case you want to venture into other things.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, moving on to most underrated player on tour.
Most underrated, like in like the top 100 or like the top anyone.
Just anyone that you think is.
I'm trying to think who's underrated out there. I think like someone like Nathan Lake.
Wow, his name has been mentioned before for this question.
Like, because he's a really good player, and like recently, I think he's like found really good form.
Yeah,
and I think he's really capable of making like some big upsets. But I just don't feel like people talk about him much. No,
I agree.
He's like capable of making big upsets in tournaments, and like he's done really well the last couple. So
see, he's stationed in the U.S. but not in the Specter Center.
He's actually out in Chicago because him and Haley Mendez are engaged, I think, and she's in business school out there at U Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually don't know who his main training partners out there in Chicago, but he seems to be doing just fine with whoever he's.
Wherever they're cooking over there in Chicago, it's working.
Yeah, wherever they're cooking up over there in Chicago, it's working for him. He's playing pretty well recently. So yeah, I think he's pretty underrated on tour.
And then
overrated.
Overrated.
Overrated. Oh man, these are tough questions. Overrated. Oh, Jesus. I hope none of these guys end up listening to this.
No one's going to be listening.
I think right now is like Miguel Rodriguez.
Miguel Rodriguez. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he ranked right now?
He's ranked up at like number 11, but I just don't feel like he's really like. I feel like he just kind of gets good draws nowadays, and but his level is not quite like at that ranking anymore. I think he's like more like in the 20s or so. He's still a good player. Don't get me wrong, but like I just feel like his ranking doesn't really reflect his level.
Also the thing with him is you just never know what you're going to get out of him each tournament.
Like, yeah, he's really unpredictable for sure.
Yeah.
I think he obviously has like the speed still, but it seems like he just kind of plays like exhibition squash.
Yeah,
most of the
it's
time.
like he can show up to a platinum event and just be like,
he's almost,
I'm here for a show.
Like Gale Monfils' character.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's a great comparison.
He's more worried about like entertaining the crowd than really like getting to work and like getting to win, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to move on to some life-related ones. So, Spence, you're shipwrecked on an island. All your basics are covered. What are the 2 things you bring with you?
Oh, man. The boys out here at the squash house, they just got the Oculus. Probably bring the Oculus with me.
Well, can you expand on what the Oculus is for the people?
The Oculus is like a virtual reality, a virtual reality device. So I feel like that would give me the ability to experience, reality from somewhere that's deserted, that's
a great one.
And then I would probably bring like some sort of like, I don't know, something like good to eat, maybe like, I don't know, would I get like an unlimited supply of food or?
Yeah, basics are all there. Yeah.
The basics are there. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to think what like I really use every day. I don't know, man.
That's tough. I thought you were going to say one of your sponsors. There's some J-Press clothing to keep you warm.
Oh, shoot. That would have been a good one. You're clever, Sean. I should have helped the brand. Maybe I'd bring Raya Eyewear with me. To
the sponsor. That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah.
Best and worst purchase you've ever made?
Best purchase? I don't know. I don't buy many things, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I'm a man of few possessions.
Few possessions. Just stick with the sponsorship sending you all the gear.
Yeah, it's like I try to get people to send me things for free. Best purchase. I'm trying to think, what do I even have in my room here? I don't have much here. Maybe probably just my Nike shoes that I have here. They're monogrammed.
Let's see them. Oh wow,
they're monogrammed.
Okay.
Got the SWL.
Wow.
And the 514 for my birthday.
Customized.
Had these for like a year now. These are good, reliable shoes. And my worst purchase of all time? Oh, man.
Oh, Spence, you're really showing the frugal lifestyle of a professional player out here.
You just can't afford to buy many things if you're just trying to make it on tour. Let me think here. Worst purchase?
I mean, clearly seems like you got no worse purchases out here.
I got nothing for this one, man. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I'm gonna make it easier for you. A favorite alcohol drink of choice for you?
Drink of choice, probably gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic.
Actually, or Guinness.
A Guinness. Oh, that's
one of the two. Yeah,
I feel like that's a hit or miss for a lot of people. With the Guinness.
I had a couple of Guinnesses with my good friend Michael Craig last weekend.
Oh shit! Okay,
Michael Craig.
Yeah.
He came into town from. He's coaching up in New Jersey.
Oh, he's coaching now.
Yeah, he's coaching in Princeton. Yeah,
gotcha.
He still has aspirations of playing the pro tour, I think. But right now he's just coaching at a small club in Princeton. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then last one is biggest pet peeve.
Biggest pet peeve probably got to be punctuality.
Oh, that's big for you.
People don't show up on time for things.
Is Timmy punctual?
Timmy's very punctual. Yeah, Timmy's very punctual. I'll tell you a story. Once we were on a Team USA junior trip, and Adam Hamill, who's now our manager over at the center, he was coaching the U.S. junior team back then, and he pulled us aside and when we all arrived at the hotel first day, and he was like, "All right, guys, like, you know, this trip, like, punctuality is really like one of my pet peeves, and like, I really need you all to be on time for everything, for our hits, for our breakfast, you know, meals. You need to be either early or on time for everything."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, next morning, we all go down for like team breakfast, and Hamill does not show. We go back upstairs, and we go knocking on his hotel door, and he opens the door, and it's like pitch black in there. He like just woke up. He was like, "Oh, sorry guys, like I overslept." Like, and so now every time he's late for anything, I just go, punctuality is my pet peeve.
Oh, that's so funny. Way to just ruin your status as the team leader there.
No, we love Adam. He takes really good care of us.
Yeah.
And,
oh, that's funny.
He's left us with a lot of good memories from those trips.
And I'm going to do, to wrap this up, some Instagram questions I got. I got some funny ones, but the first one is it's pretty ridiculous. Do you think you could beat Gina Kennedy?
Yeah, I would beat Gina Kennedy for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty ridiculous question. Next question was, did you feel you were a successful junior player?
Yeah, I feel like I had a good junior career, for sure.
Yeah. And then another question was, what was his time like at BGS? I guess that's the Barcelona Global Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BGS is Barcelona Global Squash. It was great.
Gotcha.
I love BGS. Like I said before, it was like, you know, I was considering, you know, training there full time.
Yeah.
But I felt like after going there, I actually played some of my best squash of the time.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Both times I went there, after I came back, I played really well in tournaments and felt really good. So shout out to BGS. They've got a great program. Anyone looking to kind of like travel or like do like a kind of like year abroad or something, if you're looking to like take Spanish classes or something, I think BGS is a great option.
Do you speak Spanish?
I used to speak it better in high school and like in college. I took some Spanish classes in college, and when I was there, I was okay. But I've just totally lost it since then. I haven't really like spoken at all. So I'm definitely rusty.
Yeah. And then the final question is, where did he learn his table fixing skills?
My table fixing skills?
I think this is one of your housemates.
Yeah, we had a big collapse of our kitchen table a couple weeks ago. We had
too much partying over there.
Yeah, man, just too much, too much pong, too much pong going on.
Yeah,
but we were just having dinner, and one of my roommates, James Flynn, just leaned down on it, and the whole, like the table was like this, and it just from the middle just collapsed like that, straight down, and everything fell off the table, and we kind of pieced it back together. We had like a screw, like a screwdriver or a drill and some screws, and we kind of just put it back together. And if any of the viewers want to see what the table looks like now, you hit me up. I'll send you photos.
It's so funny.
It does not look great, I have to say, but it's functional.
That's all that matters.
Exactly. You can eat dinner also. So.
All right, so I'm going to wrap it up there, folks. Before we do wrap it up, I do want to mention to Spencer that Tarek Moment did beat Ferris Suzuki in the 5th game.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Just so that's his pick.
Yeah, I've got to go with Tarek then.
That's his pick.
For the Open, so hope he comes through for me.
Yeah, but just want to say thank you to Spence for coming on and doing the podcast with me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, no problem. Always a pleasure being on here with you at the Rally Report, and looking forward to hearing more juicy squash stories from you in the future. And hope to be back soon.